people. This is your host, Demeara Virgil, and you are listening to or watching Queendom Conversations podcast. On this platform, we empower women one podcast at a time. Today, I have an amazing guest. Her name is Courtney Lillie. She is a resilient woman whose journey speaks volumes to the power of healing and self-discovery. Diagnosed with anxiety in her early 20s, Courtney had already spent years navigating the challenges of anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Her darkest moments followed a traumatic assault during her college years, leaving her feeling lost and defined by her struggles. But through deep commitment to self-worth, healing, and rebuilding her confidence, Courtney found a way to live with her mental health challenges rather than be controlled by them. Now, with more good days than bad, she's on a mission to empower women to break free from stress, reclaim their confidence, and embrace their feminine power. Her story serves line for those seeking to redefine themselves beyond their past and live authentically. We are honored to have her here today to share her journey and inspire others to step into their true potential. Again, ladies, Courtney Lillie.
Thank
So
you.
much for coming on this platform. I'm so excited to hear about your journey. When I read your bio, I was like, this is going to be an amazing testimony. So let's start with the very beginning, Courtney. Tell us how this journey started for you.
Oh, goodness. I think the biggest catalyst for me was it was actually a set of traumatic experiences in college. My very first year, my very first semester of college, trusting people that probably shouldn't have trusted. And you're on your own for your first time. So you're trying to figure life out at that point in time. And I ended up getting caught up in it. And it really, I, for lack of a better phrase, made me spiral. Yeah, spiraled right down. But the good thing about this, because I do think there is good that comes from bad situations that we don't see at the time that we're experiencing them because we're not meant to, right? But later on, we find purpose in it. And what happened with this one was it made me face myself. It made me really want to take a look at myself and figure out, well, what was my role in this? What did I do? What was my responsibility? And so there was a lot of like deep reflection about that. But that was really the catalyst of me learning more about myself and my past and how to navigate my future with those thoughts in mind.
Wow. So let me ask you this because I'm writing things down as you speak to me. Once you got to college, you say that you began to spiral.
Yeah.
Is there something that triggered that? Did you have a really strict upbringing or childhood or?
I was raised so independently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like my divorced parents. So there's some stuff that happened in childhood, not super close to parts of my family now because of ways that they've treated me and things like that, but really close to others. So it's brought me away from certain family members and even closer to other family members. So my childhood wasn't awful. It wasn't bad. It wasn't perfect, but no childhood is going to be.
Right.
But what I did experience in childhood was expectations of who I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing, how I was supposed to be behaving. So those reflections that I was telling you about, a lot of those reflections were me being like, oh, that's why I have these perfectionistic tendencies. That's why I just want to people please. That's why I put people on pedestals. And it's so interesting to get introspective like that and see where we came from and really understand ourselves better.
It's really interesting that you say that because I've had conversations with ladies in the past and we always talk about generational trauma and generational curses. And a lot of times when we talk about generational trauma, people do not think about when you put expectations on children. They think about there was some turmoil going on, there was some toxic situations going on, but I have literally had conversations with women who said I had to break the curse of generational trauma because of the demand that my parents put on me to make me feel like I had to be perfect, that I couldn't make any mistakes. And as I got older, those different things triggered me to behave the way that I was behaving. And then I spiraled down, right? Whether it be you feeling like you weren't good enough, you weren't doing things the way you should, and it also triggered them to have some anxiety issues and be depressed. And then not only that, when they had children, some of them found out that they were doing the same thing to their children. So I think it's important for mothers to understand that when we say generational trauma and curses, just depends on who you talk about. A lot of people say generational trauma, that it does not always mean that it's something physical or it's toxic. Sometimes it can be the demands that you put on your children that causes them to have issues when they get older. That you say that you come from a family that raised you to be independent, but there was these expectations you had, and once you got out the house, you started to spiral. That's really
Yeah.
interesting that you said. That's important.
Yeah. That's actually, sorry, I'm going to like go off of that. One of those things that I've recognized, and I had to have a very like serious conversation with my mom a few years back because our relationship was going sour and I really didn't want it to.
Mm,
And one of those reasons was my parents got divorced when I was 2,
mhm,
and my mom didn't have a lot of people in her life for support, but
mm,
she had me. So
mm,
she used me as support emotionally, mentally, all of those things. And what that made me think when I was growing up was I am responsible for her happiness. I am
mm,
responsible for her emotions.
mhm,
And a beautiful thing about this is now that my mom and I have had that conversation, she recognizes that it wasn't necessarily the best thing to do, but I recognize she did her best in that moment. So
mhm,
you don't have to, we're never going to be fully healed
mhm,
ever in this lifetime, but we can heal ourselves and heal other people that we've affected previously by coming together and just being open to conversations like that. I think
mhm,
that that's so important to understand because as people who are humans, we're going to make mistakes and we're going to make people feel bad. We're going to say something that we don't mean. We're going to get angry. We're going to get upset. We're going to do all of these things that aren't nice throughout our whole lifetime, right?
mhm,
But we can always come back and be like, oof, that was not my best moment.
mhm.
Let's
Be
let's talk
honest.
about that and
Mhm,
see what we can do from there.
mhm. So you made some really good points. So one of the first things that I want to say is I commend you for being accountable, for holding yourself accountable for certain things, because the first part of healing is being able to hold yourself accountable, to be honest about things. And sometimes the truth hurts. Not everybody wants to face the truth. And sometimes we tend to walk away from it or steer from it because we don't want to be honest and be accountable about certain situations. It's easy for us to blame other people for things
Point the
and say
fingers.
them and this, and it's because of this, and it's because of this, and then you are the victim. And in some cases, that is true. But at some point, you're responsible for your own life. You're responsible for the way that you respond to people. You're responsible for the moves you make. You're responsible for your mindset, for the conversations you have, for your atmospheres. Like you are responsible for every aspect of your life, and that includes you being happy. I've
Yes.
never understood the comment, my other half, my other 50%, my other half, because you should be a whole complete person. Nobody should have that much power where you're only 50% until you meet them. I am 100% woman. Everything about Demeara, I am 100%. I don't walk around saying I'm 50% and he's 50%. So together, no, I was 100% when he met me. Okay. And if you can't find somebody, or if you're dealing with people and they don't add to that 100%, then that's another podcast. But I don't believe in saying that I'm 50%. And I think that people need to be a little bit more cautious of what they speak over their life. You walking around telling everybody that you're 50% until you have somebody there. And then something else that you talked about, and this is really good, is your mother having conversations with you and you feeling like you were her support system and that you were the reason Like you have the responsibility to make her happy. And I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of women realize a lot of times when we have younger kids and we really don't have people that we can trust, we just be having conversations. We just be talking. We're in the kitchen cooking breakfast. The kids are there. They may be teenagers. They may be junior high school. And then we just saying little stuff. And then they're at the point to where they can actually ask you some questions and you just talking and then it's just a conversation. But something that happened to me, this is just my experience. My mother never really talked about the things that triggered her in its entirety. I knew some things triggered her to spiral out of control and drink and do different things, be depressed. But I can say that she would have conversations with me that were adult conversations and I was young. Listen to this, ladies, this is important. When I would get around kids my own age, and when they'd be talking about stuff, it would be so childish to me. They'd be talking
Yeah.
about painting something, the skates, the wheels is dragging, and it was just like I couldn't relate to children's conversations on the level that I was 12, 13. But the things they were talking about were so childish because I was having grown woman conversations,
Yeah.
right?
That
So
social stuff
so
is
I
so
could not
important.
connect when it came to just, we going skating, we going to the park, and they be so laughing and talking, and they just be so tickled, and I just be sitting there looking, what's funny? This is so stupid what y'all talking about. Like, why are we even talking about this? Because
Yeah.
I was having these grown folks conversations. And so I miss those parts of my childhood where I should have been laughing and talking too. And I'm saying that because sometimes we don't realize this as mothers, right? She
Yeah.
12, she 13. I tell my daughter everything. I'm honest about everything and I get it, but there has to be some balance that she can still
Yes.
have childhood conversations and still be a child is all I'm saying.
Yes.
I was literally 11, 12, and it was just like I couldn't even connect with them.
Yeah.
Just music coming on. Oh my God, that's my favorite singer. He had this on the concert. And I'm just like, I got some grown woman stuff my mama talking to me about. I don't care about who at what concert. And yeah, did you
Yeah.
see what she had on it? Like, I don't care about what she had on at a concert. See, do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
You
it
have to
really,
like grow
yeah,
up quick at that point.
yes,
And then you
yes.
aren't sure. I tell people all the time, like, I don't know how, like, I never really got to be a child. I don't know
Mhm.
how to be a child. And one of the things that I've done in my healing process is inner child work, which then
Mhm.
means not only do you have to reparent that little girl, but
Mhm.
also you have to play. You have to have fun. And so I
Mhm.
have conversations with, I have a friend who like literally this is what he does. He focuses on inner child healing. And he was like, you've got to have more fun. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. And he's just stop taking life so seriously. Like, I don't know how to do that either.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No, I didn't know
a
how to do
completely
that.
learning
And to
process.
be honest with you, like I still struggle with not taking life serious. Just people say, don't take life serious. I don't know anything else but to take life serious because that's what I've had to do my whole life. And I'm a little bit better at just letting my guards down. And as they say, spread your wings and just, but I still have my moments where I'm not. So that's something that I'm still working on. And I'm always honest about things because I don't want to come on this platform and then make it seem like I'm perfect because I'm not, ladies. There are still things that I'm working on every day. I'm not perfect. I have my good days, I have my bad days. If I respond to something the way that I shouldn't, or just different things, it could be something with the business and I'm down and out, and then I have to pick myself up and remember the promises that God has given me. They're just, every day is not perfect for me. But when I wake up the next morning, I realize that this is a new day, this is a new time, and then I can do some new things. And that's what keeps me in the headspace of staying focused. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you say that you began to spiral out of control,
Uh-huh.
was it a new crowd you were hanging around? Because I'm just trying to understand the.
Do you want to know the what the experience was? Is that what you're getting
Yeah.
at?
And I'm saying this because of this, because you have some parents
Yeah.
who daughters are in college. This is their first semester of college they're in now. School will be out soon, but and so their daughters could be calling them saying, Mom, this and that, and I want to fit in, I want to go here, I want to go there, but I'm not sure. And then you have some mothers who their daughter's not telling them anything because when they say stuff, they overreact. So they just keep them out of the loop of everything going on. Then you have some mothers whose daughters are being honest about what's going on, but the mothers don't know how to handle it because she can't be there. So that's why for mothers who are listening, even for daughters who don't really know how to connect with their mothers and say, Mom, this is going on, just
Yeah.
because times are different than when I
They are.
first started going
Yeah.
to school. So just just break it down a little bit to give us an idea of the mindset, some of the mindsets you had during that
Yeah.
time so we can understand. Yeah.
I will be completely transparent here. The experience that I went through was like there needs to probably be a trigger warning
Oh,
for
wow.
it. So this is like the trigger
Okay.
warning piece, right?
Okay.
I was sexually assaulted in college.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm okay with talking about it. That's
okay.
not an issue. I
I will
just
put a trigger warning on here.
yeah, I didn't want to
Okay.
have it be in there and just me
I
being
think
like,
it's
and by
important
the
now,
way,
but to be honest with you, and I don't mean to cut you off, this is
no,
important because sometimes our daughters go out to college and we
yes,
don't have these conversations. Just let me say this really quick and then we'll get back to it.
yeah, go ahead.
Courtney is saying that she was sexually assaulted in college. Let me say this because I want women to understand that sometimes it's not men that approach you. Sometimes it's females that approach you in a friendly manner and it's in connection with a man, like they're luring you. You think they're your friends, you think they're cool, and then they get you in situations, they give them different things. This is just me being honest. I mentor ladies, young ladies in college, the whole nine, right? Sometimes you always say you got to watch the man, you got to watch the man. No, she needs to watch the females too. She needs to pay attention to her surroundings. But times have changed and it's not just men walking up and approaching the women, it's females, like they're scouts, they're sent out to find these girls. Okay, so it's important that we have these conversations with them when they leave the house. But I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. That's really important. So my first year, first semester of college, I was sexually assaulted.
Mm,
And that kind of threw me out of this who am I? Because I was also in a very committed relationship at the time with my then boyfriend, who is now my husband. And it was a very weird situation. I couldn't really figure out, was there consent? Was there not consent? It was borderline because I was coerced and manipulated
mm,
into this.
mm.
So I had the whole year of experience of being like, was this me? Was this him? What was my portion of this? I never said yes, but I also didn't really say no, but he was begging me. So it it got very interesting and it got very detailed. I had to like really relive it many times to figure out what happened. But it came down to he was coercive, he was manipulative, and that got me to basically I just wanted him to get off my back. I wanted him to leave me alone. So I was like, fine, do whatever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not going to keep talking about because I don't want to upset you. We're going to go on to something else. But how long did it take you to process through that?
I did it alone. So that's where I was going
Wow.
to try and go after that was I took a lot of time for introspection. I went really far within myself and I did it alone. So for a year, I just was like processing the actual thing that happened to me and figuring
Right.
out what was it, how to categorize it. And then after that, I had to start the healing process. So I had to go through, I labeled myself as a victim. Okay,
Mm,
what does that mean for me? I labeled myself that as a survivor after that. What does that mean to me? And then I
mm,
got to the other side as well. So it was very much going to therapy, dealing with anxiety and panic attacks because I
mm.
stayed on campus. Thankfully, he did not. He didn't come back
Okay,
after
I was
that
going to ask
semester.
you
So
that. Okay.
I'm very grateful for that. But like I stayed on campus. So there were things that like we did together because he was in our friend group, not
Oh,
where like I would go around campus and be like, oh, that was a place that we went. And all of a sudden, I was triggered by this memory that
oh,
flashed back for me. And I would have hyperventilation, racing heart, sweaty palms, like all the whole 9 yards for panic and anxiety attacks. Therapy got me through. Therapy got me through a lot of that. But on the other side of that, after I graduated from undergrad, I realized there was this whole other layer that I just wasn't getting to. I got a little bit of myself back, but I couldn't get past this like what happens after being a survivor? Because there is more to you than being a survivor, whether it's of sexual assault, whether it's of cancer, whether it's of whatever, right?
what is some advice you would give ladies if they are? if they have experienced this, or if they're dealing with someone and they feel the way you said you were feeling before the assault happened. There are some women who are dealing with that. They just want him to just leave him alone. If I just give him what he wants, he'll go on. So what is some advice you can give women who are listening to this?
Gosh.
Because this is your testimony, this is your
Yeah.
story, and this can really help somebody. This can have them go the other way, to back off and to disconnect
Yeah.
from this person completely based off of your words, because you've been there and done it, and you may be
Yeah.
the first person that has actually said something that's in likeness to what they're dealing with. That's how powerful these words you're speaking are.
No pressure. Just kidding. I think I have a couple of pieces of advice here, but my biggest one is you are the only one that can look out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have the power to do what you need to do in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I know as women, a lot of times we're not meant to feel powerful. And what I mean by that is a lot of times our power gets taken away from us in several different ways, or we may not feel super confident. I know at that point in time, I felt like I had no power, no spark, no confidence whatsoever. I was living for every other person in the world except for me. But if I had somebody that looked at me in that moment and was like, girl, your power is literally sitting inside you waiting for you to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And like in this moment, you could look at this person and be like, actually, no, you can leave.
Mm-hmm. Or either you can't come at all. I'm gonna let him come over because he's gonna be upset, and we're all in the same circle.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be saying stuff, and they gonna say I'm acting funny. Let him act funny because you're not
Yeah.
coming over here.
Yeah.
Like, and this is so important, ladies. It's your body. You have the right to say no. If people get upset with you and whatever circles you're running in, and they don't want to deal with you because you acting funny, you're not doing the things they're doing, that's fine, because you are set apart and chosen for something much greater. You do not have to fall in line with what everybody else is doing. This is another thing. If you feel like something is wrong, if you feel like something is off and there's nudging, and it's just, I can't put my finger on it. He's so nice when I go out, but when I'm around him, or it's just something is just triggering me, something's just off. Trust the way you feel.
Yeah.
I am 48 years old. Okay. Listen to me, ladies. This is important. Whenever I had a feeling about somebody and I just wanted to do what I wanted to do because that's what I wanted, it always wind up circling back. And then I say, something told me not to deal with him. Something told me not to get, like, something told me not to mess. Something told me to leave him alone. Every time, whenever I had a feeling that something was off, it was off.
Yeah.
Trust the way you feel. You get
Yes.
those feelings like something not quite right,
Yes.
but
I actually had one of my roommates was like, I don't know, something about him. And I was, I don't know. I get that. But also I saw him as like a puppy and I was taking care of him
mm.
at points in time.
So he made you feel like he needed to be saved?
Oh,
Like,
oh yeah. And I was nothing if not a martyr at that point in time.
oh, oh, wow. And so
So,
that was his strategy. That was his tactic to make it seem like he was just so vulnerable and needy. And
oh
so
yes.
you come along and then you nurture and then you feel like you helping him, but he was playing games the whole time. It sounds
Yeah.
like a narcissist to me.
You could probably say that.
Mm.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, yeah. Narcissist. Demeara said it. Okay, so let's talk about the journey that you're actually on now. Let's talk about the Courtney now. Explain the way life is for you now, because you've overcome stuff, you have a different mindset, you're stronger, you've built yourself up to be an amazing woman. So tell us a little bit about Courtney now.
Courtney now recognizes that there's strength in being a lover, but there's also extreme strength in boundary setting. I could be a lover and still say to you, actually, that made me feel a little bit weird. I didn't like that. And
Mhm.
there's also truth behind that. There's authenticity behind it.
Mhm.
And with that, there's also deeper connection. So the people in my life that I just didn't connect with on a level greater than we're the same age. We went to school together. We took a few classes together.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really in my life anymore. But the connections that I've made recently, or I guess more recently over the past couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
they're so much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And they know me better than most people in my life.
Mm-hmm. That's
Because,
important that you say that too.
yeah.
That's
So
important.
I think that's been the like biggest shift is just being able to be a little bit more myself every single day.
Mm-hmm.
There's it's still a journey, right? I'm never going to be fully healed. I'm always going to have something to do after this. I'm always going to have something that I want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always going to be a little bit of fun in every day because I get to discover a little bit more about myself.
That's important that you say that about the connections, because as you start to shift and as you start to heal and grow and you become a different person, you become more evolved and you start transitioning to something greater, you're not going to be able to take everybody with you. You have
Yeah.
some people who will not grow. If they could grow, they choose not to. They become comfortable in whatever situations they're in. And if you want to continue to thrive and grow and walk in your purpose and operate within your gifts and just live a life to where you are thriving
Yeah.
and you just living your best life, a lot of times you're going to have to break away from certain people. And I don't mean just strangers. Sometimes it's family. Sometimes it could be
Yeah.
siblings, cousins, uncles, aunties. There is no limit on the people that you may have to walk away from, but you have to make a decision at some point. Am I going to stay in these toxic relationships, or do I want to thrive and live the best life that I can live? Because life is short. Every second, every minute, every hour that you spend on relationships that serve no purpose, on having conversations that hold no weight or not going anywhere, or gossiping, or you listening to people with this outside noise telling you everything that you can't be, you're wasting time because you can't get that back. It's so important. And I talk about this all the time. I have a very small circle. I don't believe in the masses, me being in these large crowds and having all these friends and I can name all these people and what they do and where they live. I don't care anything about that. I care about a person's heart, and I care about the way they treat me, and not only the way they treat me, the way they treat others, especially others who can do nothing for them, right? I don't care about titles and what they own because we can't take any of that stuff with us. At the end of the day, what did you do for people who couldn't do anything for you? What did you do to help others? What is your conversation like? What do you say about me when I'm not in a room with you? What are you saying about yourself? The point, the season that I'm in my life, I have to have certain kind of remnant around me because there's a purpose that is on my life, right? I have to have people that know how to pray, okay, that can pray for me, can help me pray myself out of some situations. I can call you when I have some things going on and God is dealing with me about a vision or these doors are opening, and we can be in agreement. And you can say, you know what, Demeara, I don't know about this, but I believe in you, versus somebody say, girl, that's crazy. You're already doing this and this. You might as well go sit down. Like, conversations matter, your circle matters. And the self-talk you have, the atmospheres you dwell in. You have people, toxic people and situations coming into your atmosphere, they will drain you. How many times do people call you and they pour everything out on you? By the time you get off the phone, you are completely drained, and now they feeling good, like they've literally shifted it. And
Yeah.
some people should be able to pour something back into you. It should not be you just pouring things into other people, but you are never pouring things back into yourself, and you're re-energizing and you're getting back to a place to where you feel complete. There's so many, and I say this all the time, there's so many different levels to growth. There's so many different levels to being successful. It's the inner work. It's not just the outside stuff, ladies. This was an amazing story. You had an amazing testimony. And I know that it's not easy to get on here and to be vulnerable, especially people you don't know them. Anybody could be watching. Some people say, I went to school with her and I sat in that class and I had no idea. Who you think she talking about, girl? Who you think she talking about? Because that's how people do. But I'm very proud of you because you were able to come on here and speak your truth and be at such peace and have so much grace. Ladies, if you got anything out of this, one thing that I want you to hold with you in every decision you make is trust the way you feel. I don't care who it is. If something don't feel right, believe the way you feel. Trust yourself. Trust your inner. Trust the way you feel. There's nothing wrong with trusting the way you feel.
Nope.
Nothing. Okay, if you could go back to your younger self,
Yep.
what are some things you would tell yourself to be able to get through these seasons?
I just thought I love you to myself. And if I realized that I was worthy and deserving of that love, then I would not have gone through probably half the stuff that I went through in my lifetime because I would have just been like, but I love myself. And that's all that matters.
Mm, that's powerful. Okay, do you have any favorite scriptures or affirmations that you stand on that you can share with the women?
Yeah. An affirmation would definitely be I love you. Like looking in
Okay.
the mirror and being like, I love you. Just saying it
Mhm,
over and over again until you actually
mhm,
believe it.
mhm,
Other thing that I really enjoy telling myself is that I can create my own life,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
Which makes me not only responsible for the decisions and behaviors that I have throughout the day,
mhm,
but it puts me back in charge of certain aspects of my life. It gets me in touch with my innate power.
mhm,
And I think the biggest one is just believe. If you believe, if you have a dream,
mhm.
believe that it can happen because you wouldn't be having that dream if it wasn't meant for you.
I agree 100%. Let me say this. Um, the way you start something is what people are going to expect. Okay. And what I mean by that is this: if you start in a relationship, it doesn't have to be somebody you dating, could even be friendships, could be where you working, could be a lot of things. If you always the yes person, even when you want it to be no, they are going to expect that you are going to always say yes. They don't even have to think about it. Oh, she'll do it, she'll do it, she'll do it, she'll do it. If you're going above and beyond and you are just extending yourself in certain situations, okay, especially when you first meet people, that is what they are going to expect from you,
Yeah.
right? The way you start situations, ladies, I'm telling you from what I know, not what I'm just talking about. The way you start a thing is what people are going to expect. There's nothing wrong with saying no is
Yes.
powerful. No, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't have time to do that. No, I don't want to commit myself to doing that because I'm going to spread myself too thin. And you don't always have to give a excuse or explain to people why it's no. You a grown woman. Sometimes it's just no. No,
Yeah.
no. There's nothing wrong with having balance. If you don't agree with something, if you don't like the way somebody is treating you, if you don't like the way somebody did your hair or whatever it is, like you have the power to say, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to cut my hair. I don't want to dye my hair. I don't want to put highlights in my hair. I don't want to wear those heels. I like these shoes. I don't want to wear bright colors. I like neutral colors. There's nothing wrong with being honest about the things you like.
Yeah.
If you don't say anything, a lot of times people don't know. They don't know you don't like colorful stuff. You want neutral color. They don't know you don't want your hair tapered and you want. Sometimes it's us because we don't say anything. We just want to go along with the crowd. We want to get along with everybody. I am a leader. I'm not following anybody.
Yeah.
That is not what I do. I'm not following anybody. I'm not. I like longer hair. I don't want my hair short. I like neutral colors. I don't like I'm dark skin. I like neutral colors. That's just my choice. Nothing's wrong with me. That's just what I prefer. I like neutral colors in the house. I don't want really bright colors in the wintertime. But that's what I choose. I don't really like the vanilla scent. I like other scents. And there's nothing wrong. Oh my God, you don't like vanilla? No, I don't really care for vanilla scents. I want something else. But there's nothing wrong with being different. It's okay to be different. Courtney, tell us the sites to find you on.
You can find me on danverswellnesscenter.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Courtney Rose with two E's, 26, and Facebook. You can join my Warrior Sisterhood Facebook group as well.
Okay, Warrior Sisterhood. Okay, Courtney. Okay. All right. So, ladies, you all know my name is Demeara Virgil, and I am your host for Queendom Conversations podcast. Audio, we are on all podcast platforms. On video, we are on YouTube. I have a new group called the Queen Tribe. You spell it with a K. You know I'm different, ladies. KWEEN Tribe. I just started, I think, last week. So I would appreciate if you ladies follow there. I have amazing things, updates, different things that I'm doing. podcasts that are coming up. A lot of times I am guest on other ladies' podcasts. I'm not always just on my own. So you can watch those and support. Queendom Conversations is on Facebook. I'm active. I'm really active on Facebook, not so much on the other social sites, but I really Facebook. And my website is queendom.com, KWENDUHM.com. Scriptures that I stand on, Psalms 46 and 5. God is in the midst of her and she will not fall. And Luke 1, 4 and 5. Blessed is she who has believed the promises of the Lord. You all be blessed. And thank you again for tuning in to Queendom Conversations podcast. Bye, ladies. Bye.